Hi guys, this is a recap of what we did in class today. So we moved on to the conclusion paragraph today, which you will see is posted down here as an organizer, and the slides that help you with that are in this essay checklist. So if you open up the essay checklist, scroll down to the bottom where it says conclusion, you'll see that there are slides on how to write a conclusion. Opening those up, they are set up the same way as the ones for intro paragraph and body paragraphs. So you can click through and follow along. So the conclusion paragraph format is pretty much the opposite of the intro paragraph. You are starting with your thesis, then answering the so what, why should your reader care, and then you're ending with a kicker or a lingering thought. So this first piece, restating your thesis, you may just copy and paste your exact thesis statement from the end of your introduction paragraph. If you want to use fresh words and rephrase it, you can. You do not need to. The next step is to answer the so what question, which is where you take a sentence or two to explain to your reader why what you have to say about this topic is important. So one option is to describe an American who meets the criteria you've talked about and explain why that person is to be admired. Or you could describe in general why Americans should be admired or hated based on the definition you've given. The last sentence is sort of an opposite hook. So at the beginning of your intro, you use your hook to convince your reader to continue reading what you have to say. Here, you want to give that reader something that they can take with them to think about based on what you've talked about in your paper. So you can use the same kind of things that you would use in a hook: a quote, a shocking statement, a metaphor, an analogy. Any of those things can work here. So now we're going to talk about an example paragraph that meets these criteria. So we have here an example paragraph. This is an example conclusion that goes along with the essay that you guys are writing right now. When looking to define an American, it's clear that an American is one who serves their country, is proud to be an American, and strives to make their country a better place. Throughout history, many famous Americans exemplified this definition. One such man is George Washington, first President of the United States. Washington served in the military and bravely led troops during the American Revolution, fighting to give the U.S. independence from Great Britain. Above all, Washington was proud to call himself an American. Washington put it best when he once said, "The name of an American which belongs to you in your national capacity must always exalt the just pride of patriotism, more than any appellation derived from local discriminations." So if you look at this highlighted copy, this is the three separate parts and where they occur in this example. So the part highlighted in pink is the thesis statement, which is just copied from the intro paragraph. For the so what question, this writer decided to give an example of a person who meets the criteria that they were talking about in the body of their paper. So they explain how George Washington is someone who is an example of that definition and why. And then for their last piece, for the kicker, they used a quote from Washington himself, which gives the reader something to think about as far as patriotism and being called an American. So at this point, it is your job to come up with some things to say for the so what and the kicker, in much the same way that you did for the hook and the bridge in your introduction paragraph. So when you are ready to do that, you can open up your conclusion organizer. You'll see that it has the same three sections: the restated thesis, the so what, and the kicker. The examples from those slides are copied onto here for you to look at, and then there is space for you to type your own work in each of those sections. So once you have those filled out, you can turn this in, and then I will comment on it, and in the next class I will talk about how you're going to put all of your paragraphs together into a single document.